Everyone in Nigeria knew the name Akachi Chidozie. At 42, he was one of the richest men in Africa. His face was always in the newspaper and on TV. He owned Zenith Tech System, a powerful tech company with an office in Lagos, Abuja, and even London. But behind his money and fame, Akachi was a very lonely man. His mansion in Banana Island was big and beautiful, but it was also empty. He had no wife, no children, and no real friends. All he had was his money and people who wanted it. For years, Akachi tried to find someone who truly loved him. He dated 3 women who all claimed they cared for him, but each one broke his heart. First was Kemi, a beautiful TV presenter. She was always smiling in public, but behind closed doors, she treated Akachi like a cash machine. One day, Akachi overheard her on the phone saying, "Once I get that Range Rover, I will find someone hotter. This one na ATM with a beard." After Kemi came Bola, a lawyer. She was smart and classy, but she had a secret lover. She used Akachi's money to buy a car for her boyfriend and even paid his rent. When Akachi found out, he nearly collapsed from shock. Then came Vanessa, a fashion influencer. She cried the loudest when she said she loved him. But one night, Akachi saw her laughing on Instagram Live, calling him old cargo with plenty change. That night, Akachi made a decision. He would disappear, and not just disappear, he would become someone else, someone mad. Akachi didn't waste time. The very next morning, he called his most trusted employee, Mr. David, his driver of 10 years. The man was shocked when Akachi said, "I want to disappear. No more billionaire Akachi. I want to live like a madman in the streets of Lagos." Mr. David blinked, thinking it was a joke, but when he saw Akachi packed a small bag with old clothes and removed his gold wristwatch, he knew his boss was serious. "Sir, are you sure you are okay?" David asked, trembling. "I have never been saner," Akachi replied. Within days, he faked a business trip abroad. His social media went quiet. The news said he had traveled for a special global conference. But in reality, Akachi moved into a small dirty room in Surulere, wearing ragged clothes and sandals that didn't match. He even stopped shaving and let his hair grow wide. Every morning, he will push an old wheelbarrow filled with plastic bottles, scrap metals, and banana peels. People started calling him Madman, but he didn't mind. He was finally free, free from fake love and money hunters. But Lagos is not a quiet place to pretend madness. He was stoned twice and chased away by security guard near a bank. Children mocked him. Adults held their noses when he passed. He saw how cruel the world was to people with nothing until he met Nnedi. Nnedi was 28 and full of life. Her laughter could shake a whole compound, and her special pepper jollof rice could make a thief confess the truth. She sold rice, beans, and amala by the roadside under a large umbrella. Every morning, she set up her table beside a small gutter and fried plantain while humming old high life songs. The first day Akachi stopped near her kiosk, she shouted, "You this madman, don't come near my pot oh!" But instead of running, Akachi just stared at the food and muttered, "The jollof smell like peas." Nnedi burst into laughter. "Which one be that one again?" That was the beginning. She still called him mad, but every day she would keep a small portion of food aside for him. One evening, it rained heavily and Akachi stood shivering under the gutter. "Come and sit down here," Nnedi said, dragging a mat out from under her table. "Before thunder go roast you." Akachi looked at her, stunned. "Why are you kind to me?" She waved her hand like it was nothing. "Na person you be, no matter how you dey smell." Akachi smiled slowly. For the first time in years, someone had seen him, not his money. And just like that, their story began. Days turned to weeks. Every evening, when Ned finished selling her food, Akachi would sit on the mat beside her and they would talk. She would rant about rude customers, Lagos wahala, and even heartbreak. Akachi listened quietly, sometimes nodding, sometimes laughing until tears come out of his eyes. My ex used me like spoon for hot soup, Nnedi once said. Carried my savings to play sport betting. If I catch am, eh? Akachi laughed so hard, he choked on his zobo. And you still gave him money? I don't know say love dey collect brain. Then one day, she looked at him seriously. Madness no dey reach person wey don chop love wey no pure. Akachi's heart jumped. That sentence stayed in his chest like hot amala. That night, he couldn't sleep. Was this the person he had been searching for all his life? A woman who don't care about cars or money? Someone who gave her last plate of food to a madman? Meanwhile, Nnedi was beginning to wonder who this strange man really was. He didn't act fully mad. He spoke gently. He didn't beg other people. And his eyes, those eyes don't look lost. They look like a man who had once ruled a world. But she didn't ask. She just kept feeding him. And maybe, slowly, feeding something in her heart too. One hot Saturday afternoon, the neighborhood was buzzing. A loud G-Wagon pulled up. Junior Senator Barry alighted from it, the arrogant son of a powerful politician. He came with his boys, all wearing gold chains and snapping pictures. They ordered food and laughed loudly, mocking everyone around. Then Barry saw Akachi. Ah, who let this smelling goat stay here? Nnedi, you now serve mad people? Nnedi's smile faded. He didn't beg you for anything, Oga. Leave him alone. But Barry wasn't the type to leave things alone. He walked up to Akachi, kicked over his wheelbarrow, and poured Zobo on his mat. Maybe this will cool your madness. Everyone was surprised. Akachi didn't move. He just picked up a crushed can and began stocking them slowly like nothing happened. Nnedi exploded. Are you mad? Why are you doing this? Barry laughed. Because you are too fine to be sitting with a madman every day. But the damage was done. That night, Akachi didn't come back. For the first time in 3 weeks, Nnedi's mat remained empty. The food she saved for him turned cold. Something told her she had just lost somebody important. 3 days passed, still no sign of Akachi. Nnedi tried to act normal, selling food, laughing with customers, but inside she was worried. She even walked around the neighborhood asking, anybody see that madman with the wheelbarrow? Some laughed. Some were asking questions. One woman said she saw him enter a keke and disappear down the Western Avenue. Each night, Nnedi left a portion of beans and dodo on the mat. Each morning, it remained untouched. Her heart felt heavy and it annoyed her. Why am I missing a man I thought was mad? She asked herself. Abi, is this love or juju? Meanwhile, deep in Banana Island, Akachi was back in his mansion. After Barry humiliated him, his spirit broke. He didn't want Nnedi to see him cry, so he went home. He cleaned up, shaved, and tried to return to his old billionaire life, but it didn't taste sweet anymore. His gold wristwatch felt cold. His mansion walls echoed with silence. All he could think about was the woman who gave him food without asking for anything in return. But now he had a plan and Lagos wasn't ready. Nnedi was frying puff-puff when a fine black car stopped in front of her spot. A man in a suit stepped out and handed her a gold envelope. Are you Miss Nnedi Okonkwo? She wiped her hands. Yes, waiting happened. You are invited to a business proposal meeting at Diamond Crest Hotel. Transportation will be provided. She blinked. Business? Me? Yes, a certain admirer of your culinary skills wants to invest. That night, Nnedi couldn't sleep. I don't understand this thing, no, she told her friend Chika. Who even know me? Maybe your special pepper jollof rice finally made it to CNN, Chika joked. At 4 p.m. the next day, a sleek car arrived. As they drove towards the hotel, Nnedi's heart was pounding like generator noise. She walked into the hotel's grand hall and nearly fainted. Standing in a tailored navy blue suit with cameras flashing and people cheering was the madman, but now he looked like royalty. The room fell silent as Akachi took the microphone. My name is Akachi Chidozie. Yes, the man you all saw pushing wheelbarrow in Surulere. The same one who ate free rice under Nnedi's umbrella. I wasn't mad. I was just broken. Cameras filming, journalists jotting down. Akachi turned towards Nnedi, who stood frozen at the back of the hall. I met people who only loved my money, but I met one woman who saw me at my lowest and gave me food, shelter, and something I haven't felt in years: kindness. He began to walk slowly towards her. Nnedi, you didn't ask for my money. You gave without expecting. You laughed with me when I had nothing. So today, I kneel before you as the man I truly am. Just like that, a billionaire knelt before a food vendor. Nnedi, will you build a life with me? Not as a helper, but as my partner? Nnedi held her chest, blinking fast. My God, now film I enter. The next morning, the entire internet was on fire. Hashtags like hashtag billionaire madman, hashtag Nnedi the queen, and hashtag true love in Lagos were trending. Memes poured in. One said, be kind to the madman by your shop. He might own the shop tomorrow. News stations held clips from the proposal. Nnedi, now in a fine gown, gifted by Akachi's assistant, looked dazed but beautiful. Social media divided into two sides. Some hailed her as lucky. Others asked, is she good enough for a billionaire? But Nnedi didn't care. Her only problem was she didn't say yes. I need time, she told Akachi after the event. This is too fast. I need to know if the real you is the man under the umbrella or the man in this palace. Akachi smiled. Fair enough, I will wait. Meanwhile, Junior Senator Barry was fuming. You mean I poured Zobo on a billionaire? He shouted at his boys. Somebody must pay for this disgrace, and he meant it. 3 days later, Nnedi's food stand caught fire. Her table, umbrella, and food items were burnt to ashes. Nobody knew how it started, but some saw strange men looking around earlier. Nnedi sat on the ground, tears rolling down her cheek. Why? Why now? Akachi arrived at the scene in a hurry. Who did this? I don't know, she whispered, clutching her burnt apron. Everything is gone. Akachi clenched his fist. You gave me food when I had nothing. Now I will give you the world. He made a phone call. Within 48 hours, a brand new modern eatery rose from the ashes. Nnedi's flame, fully air-conditioned, digital POS, tiled floor, and the special pepper jollof rice she once made with firewood. But Nnedi still had one foot in the past. This is nice, Akachi, but the fire wasn't just for the food. Somebody wants me gone. Akachi looked into her eyes, and I am going to find out who. Akachi didn't guess. He investigated. He called Mr. David and his private security team. They put CCTV footage from nearby shop in Surulere. The video was clear. Junior Senator Barry's boys were the ones who set Nnedi's stand on fire. One even laughed into the camera when lighting the match. Evidence secured. Meanwhile, Akachi took Nnedi to his Banana Island mansion for the first time. As she entered, her mouth opened. Chineke, this house has a house inside it. The living room looked like a hotel. The kitchen had more gadgets than a small airport. She laughed when the elevator opened. So you people even have a house that moves up and down? Akachi introduced her to Mr. David, who bowed respectfully. Madam, thank you for taking care of my Oga when he was not himself. Nnedi blushed and waved it off. Please, he was just a man and a hungry one. That night, Akachi told her everything. Kemi, the TV queen, who used her like an ATM machine, Bola, the classy lawyer, who funded her boyfriend with Akachi's money, and Vanessa, the influencer, who mocked him online. Ned listened quietly, her face soft, her eyes steady. Now I understand, she said. You weren't running from the world, you were running from fake love. Akachi took her hand, and now I am running towards you. But outside that peace, Lagos was boiling. Barry had seen the CCTV talk online and was preparing his own war. The next day, men wearing government badges stormed Nnedi's flame, held inspections. They shouted. They flipped tables, scattered foods, and threatened to shut the place down. Nnedi stood with her hands folded, shaking, but refusing to cry. Akachi arrived angry. This is targeted, he said, and I know who sent you. That evening, Barry released a fake video online, a badly edited clip that made it look like Madman Akachi once attacked him with a bottle. The internet went wild again. Some believed it, some noticed the bad editing and laughed, but the damage was spreading. As if that wasn't enough, Vanessa returned. She went live on Instagram in a crocodile tears voice. Akachi promised to marry me before he ran away. Now he wants to disgrace me for a roadside vendor. Nnedi's heart sank. She turned to Akachi. Is it true? It's a lie, he said calmly, but I will prove it. He called a press conference the next afternoon. He stood on a stage, strong and calm, and told the whole truth. The fake love, the disguise, the reason for his test, the kindness of a woman who had nothing to gain. He also played the real CCTV that showed Barry's boys burning Nnedi's stand. Reporters started asking Barry questions he couldn't answer. Nnedi watched him speak. She felt his honesty and her heart slowly came back home. But the fight was not over yet. While Akachi was defending love, Zenatech's board of directors was planning a coup. They said a man who pretended to be mad was too unstable to lead a global company. They scheduled an emergency meeting to vote him out. Akachi walked in with a quiet confidence, ready to fight for his legacy. But he didn't come alone. He brought Nnedi. When it was time to speak, she stepped forward and addressed the board in simple English. You all want a leader who knows only money, but money didn't save him from fake love. Wisdom did, and courage. He came down to the street to understand reality. If you throw him out, you are throwing out the only man who knows both sides, the palace and the gutters. Silence. Then a few clap, then more. The coup failed. Akachi kept his company. On their way home, Barry's boys ambushed their convoy. They blocked the road with bikes and tried to smash the car window, but Mr. David was ready. He reversed sharp, spun, and rammed the lead bike. Security men jumped out, chased the attackers, and arrested two on the spot. By night, the police had enough evidence to pick up Barry. The city exhaled, but love still had one more test to pass. Nnedi asked for time, but this time she had a condition. Before I say yes, I want to know the real you. No cameras, no bodyguards, no mansion. Let's live like normal people for 30 days. No billions, no special treatment, just you and I. Akachi smiled. Deal. They rented a small one-bedroom apartment in Surulere. They woke early, cooked together, argued about pepper level, and laughed. They sold food under a new humble umbrella. Customers loved them. Akachi burnt stew one morning and Nnedi dragged him playfully. Oga, you for kuku stick to tech. He learned how to buy tomatoes without being cheated. He learned how to cook and mix zobo with ginger just right. He learned how to be ordinary and he loved it. But the world didn't leave them. One blogger discovered them and snapped pictures. Billionaire living like a commoner with street vendor girlfriends. The headline shouted. People ran to the spot to see. Nnedi panicked, but Akachi held her hand and said, "Let them come. We owe them nothing." On the 30th night, they sat outside under the soft Lagos breeze. So, Akachi asked quietly, "Do I pass your test?" Nnedi looked at him, smiled softly and said, "Let me answer you tomorrow." Suspense hung in the air like a drum waiting for a beat. The next morning, Akachi went to the exact spot where Nnedi first gave him food, the mat beside her old kiosk space. He came barefoot, wearing a simple shirt and trousers, no suit, no watch, just himself. When Nnedi arrived, she saw him kneeling on the same mat she once dragged out for a madman in the rain. Akachi looked up at her, eyes soft. The only person who saw me when I had nothing is the only one I want beside me now that I have everything. Nnedi Okonkwo, will you marry me? Tears filled her eyes. She laughed and cried at the same time. Stand up first, Joe. People are looking at us. The market women started shouting, "Say yes, say yes." Even the Okada man joined. Nnedi nodded. "Yes, but on one condition." Akachi blinked. "Another condition?" She grinned. "We build something for people like the man I thought you were. People who are broken, poor or forgotten. A foundation, a shelter, a place for those who don't have a mat to sleep on." Akachi smiled wide. "Done. We call it the Mat Foundation." They hugged as the market roared and drums began to beat from nowhere. Later, they had a small but beautiful wedding, not in a palace, but in a community hall filled with love, laughter, and real people. Kemi, Bola, and Vanessa watched from their screens, learning a quiet lesson. Moral lessons of the story. True love doesn't need flashy cars or designer's ring. It sees the heart, feeds the hungry, and stands strong through madness, money, and mask. I sincerely hope you enjoyed watching the story. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Will you accommodate a madman like that for so long? To my returning subscribers, you are the real G of this channel. Thank you for always coming back. And to you coming across this channel for the very first time, hi, welcome. I do appreciate you. If you have not subscribed before, kindly hit on the subscribe button. Put on bell notification so you always get notified anytime I post a new one here. And please share this story to your friends and family. Thank you for watching Folktale by Chinelo.